This is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and this is my M&P 1522 update years later. Anybody that probably watched the old channel knows that I bought, this Smith & Wesson M&P 1522 years ago. This is the Magpul edition. I have a Magpul sling on it with a Magpul adapter here because I want the sling where I want it. Then I've got a Surefire light, LED conversions, the Nitrolon body in a Burris Extreme Tactical mount, which this is probably the best use of this mount because they don't work for scopes worth a fuck. Of course, it's got Magpul sights, and of course it has a suppressor on the front of it right now. And it's got a Magpul whatever the hell, MOE stock on the back of it with that bare rubber tap things, man, which is kind of cool, especially if you have hardwood floors. Your gun, and when you lean it up against the wall, will not kick out on you. And of course, it's got these things, man. Them their ladder cap protectors, man. Gonna protect those their hands, man. And years later, what do I think about this rifle? I think the rifle, believe it or not, is a pretty cool rifle. It does, it functions, it does what it says it does. It operates similar to an AR-15 platform. It has a charging handle. You have your bolt release. You have all of those features. You have your magazine release. You have where you can do cross training. Now I'm going to go into a rant. Why the fuck is this rifle so expensive? And I don't know what the price of it is now, and I don't really care. And it's not like I've checked. But in all honesty, why is this rifle so expensive? This rifle should be priced somewhere around $299. It's polymer. You have no machining here, really. You have very little, if any, real machining other than the barrel and some, pins and doodads and thingamabobs and everything else. I may have at some point modified the trigger on this weapon. Yeah, I do. I have a National Match trigger from... at least I think I do. Hell, I don't even know. I don't even care. But why is this weapon system so expensive? If it wasn't the way the system looked, then how do you justify the expense? Well, this one's a Magpul edition, and of course it came with an MOE stock, and it came with sights, and it came with these, and it came with, it came with a Hogue rubber grip, maybe, possibly. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it did. I don't know. Shit, I don't remember. But why is this rifle so damn expensive? If you can build a Marlin, and of course this is my Marlin that some Mormon out in Utah exactly duplicated on his video, which is cool. Marlin 795. Of course, I have the metal trigger guard group on it, and then then their whatever the hell kind of sights those are. Shit, can't read right now. What is your deck sights? If you can produce this weapon for somewhere around $150 to $175 with the amount of metal, the machining, this, that, or the other. Now I know I have options on this one. Even with this cheap ass stock and the cheap ass trigger group that it came with, why is this one so expensive when this has less real work done onto it other than the molding of the plastic? And I know the molding of the plastic is important, and I know that it you know, we got quick release sling swivels and all this shit, but in reality this should be a $299 gun, and I really don't understand why it's not. You could say, what's made in America, man? Well, so is that Marlin. So are my Rugers, man. Of course, this is a really piss poor example. But, you know, the Ruger 1022. What are the price lines on those? And they have metal, you know, receivers and solid bolt carriers and all the parts. And, yeah, they started putting, of course, this is an older one that has a metal, but they started putting nylon lower receivers on them, and people bitched to fit. And this, there, the other at the price point. But they don't tend to bitch about this one so much at the price point. And it's got to be the aesthetics. It has to be the brainwashing of society as to why this weapons system, people buy it and think it is of value. Because there are a tremendous amount of options that basically should push this rifle out of the market. You know, let's get away from the fact that people are buying 22 ammo like it's going out of style because they are doomsday prepping or whatever the hell else they're thinking about, because they think there's government takeovers and all this other crap. The government couldn't take over fucking it's funny. After Hurricane Katrina came through, the government couldn't take over fucking Louisiana and do it successfully and do it correctly, or even have control over it. People are worried about the government taking over the entire United States. Good luck with that one. But there are a bunch of wackadoodles out there that think the government has the ability, in reality, to take over the United States under martial law. Or, how about this? That the global community, man, it's the Illuminati or whatever they are, they're going to take over the America when they can't even manage the shit in their own countries. You know, the United Nations can't keep people from being fucking killed in Africa, but they're going to come here and take us over. In sub-Saharan Africa, there are 30,000 small arms and light weapons, but the UN's going to come here and take us over. They already have us enslaved. If you are in debt, you are a slave. Why the fuck would you need to fire a weapon? It makes no sense. If you can take over a country financially, why would you ever waste the time on firing a round? It's like, it's counterproductive to productivity. And since they're working for you, why would you do that? Anyway, if it wasn't for the brainwashing of society and the fact that this looks like an AR-15 and there was some cross-training platform, it was a cross-training platform, there is no way this weapons platform should be valued anywhere near what it sells for, because there is nothing in this weapon that justifies the expense other than it's a souped up airsoft gun, basically, just like all the other souped up airsoft guns. You don't have a, you know, you can't change anything here. Everything's molded together. You've got three primary pieces: your upper, your lower, which comes all the way back through the that there buffer tube assembly type operation, man. And then you got your front handguard, but you have a barrel on it, and you have a bolt. It makes no sense to me, to be honest. And it didn't make sense to me years ago. And even though this is a really cool little system, I don't understand the justification of the expense of it. Now, what I wound up and did was, if anyone watched the old channel, I built a CMMG 22 dedicated with real parts, okay? All except for the forward assist, because this doesn't really have the ability to use a forward assist. It has a plug in it. But everything else is fully operational on the weapon, and I'm going to eventually change that over and make it a functioning forward assist, just for aesthetics, and the fact that I broke that plastic ass piece of shit knob off of it, just training, because I tend to break shit. But anyway, so why do I have this weapon? Why do I like the weapon? Why this, that, or the other? Would I buy it again? No. There's not a shit chance in hell I'd buy this weapon again. I would buy the CMMG 22 and I would basically rock out. What am I using this weapon for? It's a very lightweight system, which kind of is fucked up, because why would you train someone on an AR platform that doesn't have the ability to hold or operate an AR platform? It's just kind of, well, it's a lightweight system, man, and we can just sit there and I can get them youngins out there, them women folk, and they can operate this thing where they possibly can't operate an AR. Then why the fuck do you need to spend the prime dollars on a cross-training device that works with a system that they can't operate because of the weight for long periods of time? It just does. Sorry, the logic in all of this doesn't make any fucking sense to me, honestly. But I'm using it as a critter getter, because I actually walked up on a skunk and I got sprayed by it a few weeks ago. Long story short, one bad thing, even though this is a very small suppressor, and it doesn't reduce the sound that much, especially, anybody knows they use supersonic bullets. You're going to have that crack, man. Ideally, what I would like to have is I'd like to have a 3-cell, where this is a 2-cell Surefire, a 3-cell, get that out there a little bit longer, to where the shadow of this suppressor and this barrel was reduced, because it creates a dark place where my mind believes there's zombies and things walking in them. But anyway, it's just an irritant. It's just something you have to deal with this type of platform, especially 16-inch barrels, Yeah, you get used to it. In an ideal world, I'd have one of them there longer type flashlights on it, to where it just or I'd have something that had a little tighter focus of beam. Tighter focus of beam would work also. Anybody who's ever used a Scout or that type of light knows that. Anyway, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches with my redo of the Smith & Wesson M&P 1522. And since my guy down the road's announced that he's running for president, I have to do more logical and boring reviews, because it's just the right thing to do, because I've got to deal with a presidential candidate living in my, not only my town, but not only my area, but just like a stone's throw away from my house. And it's like, god damn, people don't realize how fucking really annoying that is. It just sucks. They fly big ass planes in, and I'm not anti progress or shit. If I ever moved off of a 4-lane road, I would swear to God I was in the sticks. And right now, I think I am a redneck living in the woods, and I live off a 4-lane, off an 8-lane or a 6-lane. Sorry, I live off a 4-lane, off of a 6-lane, and can get anywhere really quickly. If I ever lived where the road that I had to predominantly get to my house was a 2-lane, I swear to God, I better be really rich and being driven around by a chauffeur or be fucking dead. And on my way to Valhalla or something, because that would be, to me, the most impractical situation. But that's just the way it is. I live in Kentucky, but goddamn, folks, Kentucky is really, really, really not the way it gets portrayed on television, because a lot of the people that get portrayed on television are kind of weird. And even though the presidential candidate lives in our properties, probably come in contact, and I don't really give a shit, but you know, I wish I knew what he actually stood for, because he's probably a good guy. He was just really young when he started all this shit, and and I don't profess to be really a Republican or really a Democrat, because I will tell all Republicans, listen, motherfucker, you need to go get an education in science, because you are the dumbest son of a bitch I ever met. And you fucking, the Democrats, go take a bath, you tree-hugging Harvard fucking hippie piece of shit. Libertarians, I don't really know enough about this shit to fucking care. And actually, I'm really more anti-politics than anything, because I don't believe that either one of the parties has got the answer, and I don't really believe libertarians do either, because they're indoctrinated through the system. So how can you, if you're indoctrinated through the system, can you understand it and be self-aware and self-objective of the system, be self-critical? I used a lot of words there that probably didn't really apply, but being self-critical, anybody that thinks they can fix this shit, it's just who can steal the most now. Who's going to take the most shit right now, going to put it in their people's coffers, so that the future down the road, which is going to be critically fucked up, because there's no way to avoid it. I mean, they knew this decades ago. This when I was a little kid, they just didn't, this isn't a surprise. It's not a shocker, folks. Anyway, this is Guns, Knives, and Watches, and this is my review rant, whatever, M&P 1522, politics, and I'm going, fuck it. I'm going to spend more time in Florida. I swear to God, those people are fucking whacked out of their goddamn gourd, those gun-loving, crazy, fucking uneducated pieces of white trash, but damn, at least they don't impede my traffic flow. Whatever. Have a good one.